Hello, welcome back. It's so good to see you. So, today we are going to talk about what I've been watching for the month of September. September, right? I figured out a way how to put my notes over here, which is awesome. So, I will be looking over here at my notes. Otherwise, I won't remember what I'm talking about. Okay, so if you watched my other videos, you know this month was kind of busy dealing with things with my mom and my daughter and stuff like that. So I didn't watch a lot of things. But I am going to share with you what I did watch. And I think everything is good. Like, I don't think I have any bad reviews at all. Before we get into the video, I do want to mention that my mom is across the hall in her room doing things. So if you hear that, sorry, but she's got to do the things, okay? So hopefully you won't hear anything. But anyway, yeah, let's just get into it, okay? I'm just looking at what I watched and I'm getting excited. So I'm going to try and make it a slow and relaxing video, but you know how I am when I get excited. I get much more shouty and I talk a lot faster, but I'm going to try not to do that this time. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so the first thing that I watched is a show on Amazon, and I'm kind of mad that I didn't know about this show before, but I'm also kind of glad because I was able to binge the entire series, okay? So it is complete. So if you want to binge the whole series, you can. And trust me, you're going to want to do it, okay? Okay, so it is a show on Amazon, and it is called Upload. Rotten Tomatoes score gave it an 88. Audience score gave it a 73. I think it deserves much higher than both of those scores. It's amazing. It stars Robbie Amell, Andy Allo, Allegra Edwards, Kevin Bigley. There are like a billion people in this show. A billion. And I don't think that I would have ever discovered this show if it wasn't for TikTok, because randomly TikTok will have like ads, and there was an ad for this show on Amazon by the creator of The Office, Greg Daniels, I believe his name is, and I'm like, what is this, And so I went and watched the trailer, and I was like, I have to watch this. I have to. So what is it about? It says that it is a man is able to choose his own afterlife after his untimely death. So there's this guy, and I can't remember names, doesn't matter, right? So there's this guy. Oh, also, I think we are in the future a little, just a little though. I think it's 2030. And except in this universe, 2030 is much more advanced than where I think we are going. But it's actually really cool. But this man, he's driving a self-driving pod, okay? And it is self-driving, but you can switch it to auto mode and then drive like basically with a video game controller or something. I don't know. It seemed pretty cool. There's my stomach. I haven't eaten today, so there'll be stomach sounds. But something malfunctions with the car, obviously, and he gets into this car accident and he's dying. He goes to the hospital, and his girlfriend is there, and they're not sure if he is going to make it. They think that he's going to die. And in this world, this universe, they have created afterlife. And it's like, it kind of reminded me of like a Black Mirror episode, except this isn't scary. This show is a comedy, okay? But you can choose, and he literally had to physically choose which direction he wanted to go, knowing that he may die, he may not. If he goes this way, he goes to surgery, where he could just, he could die. And if he were to die going to surgery, then who knows where he would end up. Is there a spiritual world? Is there nothing? That's the choice that he has to make. Or he can choose to go to afterlife. I can't remember what it's called, but afterlife is a digital simulated afterlife, where it's basically like a resort, and your consciousness is uploaded. I mean, see what I mean? It's kind of like a Black Mirror episode, because I'm pretty sure they had something like that. But you can upload to the afterlife or whatever, and but you have to pay for that service, you know? That's something that you pay for when you're alive, and he does not even have that, you know? But his girlfriend, who comes from money, she wanted him to go and choose the afterlife because she already has a plan ready to go for when she dies. And she's like, please choose the afterlife, choose it, I'll pay for everything, you know? And so he's kind of put under pressure because he doesn't really like his girlfriend. He had been planning on breaking up with her, but because of the life or death situation, and he's unsure, he chooses afterlife. And what's really interesting about this afterlife is that because your consciousness is uploaded into this virtual reality, people in the real world who are alive can actually put on like this headset and a bodysuit and go into this virtual reality, so you can be with your loved ones who have passed on. You can be with their consciousness, and you can have birthdays and vacations and all kinds of things like that. Like, it is insane. It's actually really cool. Now, it makes you think about life and stuff like that. That's not even really what the show is about. It's just, that's how it starts out, okay? It's so cool. It's so cool. But I personally, if that was a choice, I would not choose afterlife. I would choose the other, you know, but this is very cool. This over here, it's very, very cool. But this show is very accurate in how it would be if that existed, okay? Because eventually, there are pop-up ads trying to sell you things in the afterlife, okay? And if you want certain perks, you have to upgrade, which requires money. And there are different levels of afterlife. So there are people that are in the lowest level that your consciousness operates on like meg or gigs or whatever. And in the lower levels, there are limited gigs or whatever that you get during the day. And so once you use up your time, your consciousness basically freezes and you no longer exist until the next day, and you accumulate more time. It's insane. It's insane. But the story is about this guy who is in the afterlife, the digital one, and his girlfriend, who he was going to be breaking up with, is there all the time. And he does not like her. But what will happen if he ends things with her? Because she can end his existence all together. That's insane, right? And he is just navigating life in this afterlife. And he has an angel. It's his digital assistant, which they call an angel, and he can be just like, "Hey, angel," and the digital assistant will pop up. And the digital assistant is an actual real live person in the real world, on a headset virtual reality thing, helping him with whatever he needs. But what's interesting is, he kind of starts to have a little crush on his angel. But I hope his girlfriend doesn't find out, because Angel also starts having a little crush on him. And it's a whole situation, okay, throughout the entire series. It's very, very funny. It's completely unpredictable. I did not know where it was going to go. I did not know what was going to happen, and it was really, really good. That's all I'm going to say about it, because I don't want to give anything away. It's so, so good. And that's why I'm like, where was this show my whole life? Like, how did I not know about it? Why wasn't it on my radar? I don't know, but I'm glad I found it. And I'm glad I found it when I did, because the last season just came out. It just came out. So I didn't have to do any waiting. I think there are 4 seasons, and I binged them all so fast. So fast. And yeah, I would watch this show again, because it's just that good. It's fantastic. Okay, so moving on. The next thing that I watched was another show that I binged twice. Okay, so it is a show on Peacock, and it is called The Paper. Rotten Tomato score gave it an 85. Audience score gave it a 74. I agree with the 85. It's about an 85. I agree with that. It stars, I'm gonna butcher the name, Domhnall Gleeson. I don't know how you say his name. Chelsea Frey, Oscar Nunez. I've been waiting for this show for the longest time. This is another show that is also by the creator of The Office, Greg Daniels. But what makes this show different is that it is in the same universe as The Office, one of my all-time favorite shows. So everything about the show was pretty secret. You just knew that it was in the same universe. You knew that Oscar was going to be in the show, and that was about it. Okay. So this, at first I was not happy with the show, and then I had to give it another chance, and I had to rewatch it. I will explain. So, okay, it says the documentary crew that immortalized Dunder Mifflin in The Office has found a new subject, the paper. So it starts out, and this doesn't give any spoilers about the actual show, but it starts out with the documentary crew going back to the office building, the parking lot, and it I love this show, The Office, so much that when I saw the building, like, my heart, like, just leaped out of my chest. I was just like, oh my gosh, right? They go into the office, and they go into the building, and where is their first stop? Bob Vance Refrigeration. I was like almost in tears. Like I couldn't handle it. I could not handle it. It was just okay. So, and then I was almost in tears because I was completely soul crushed. Just like, what do you mean? Okay. Dunder Mifflin or Saber Dunder Mifflin or whatever, it no longer exists. It's gone. No, no, don't tell me that, okay? Don't. And Bob Vance was giving me this information. So it went under, the business went under, okay? And they were bought out by another company. And I do not remember the name of the company, okay? But Dunder Mifflin no longer exists. And that crushes my soul. Like, don't ruin my life, okay? But he was saying that because they asked Phyllis to go. They asked everyone in the office at the time if they wanted to go to Toledo, I believe, because that's where they were moving their whatever. Because whatever this company is has several paper companies under it. Okay. They had asked Phyllis to go, and he was like, to Toledo? No, she's not going. But he pulled up the Chamber of Commerce or whatever because it listed the companies and where they were located, who bought out businesses that went out of business. My soul. And it was some company in Toledo, and so the documentary crew goes to Toledo, and one of the companies is Softies, and they make like paper towels, toilet paper, that kind of thing, and they are in the same building as the Truth Teller, or the Toledo Truth Teller, which is the paper, and that is who this documentary crew is following, the employees of the Toledo Truth Teller. Was I saying Toledo the whole time? I think it's Toledo. I don't know. You know, I'm the worst at names. Anyway, so yeah. And Oscar from The Office works here as an accountant. And he freaked out when he saw the documentary crew. My God. He did not authorize it. He did not want to be recorded. And he was just like, get the camera out of my face. You can't do this. And then the documentary crew, like, it's a black screen and it puts words. It was like, yes, we can. There was no limit on the contract that Oscar signed for the other documentary, so we can do whatever we want. It was great. Okay, so it's basically just this failing paper company that has just hired a new editor-in-chief to try and bring it back up. And I gotta tell you that everybody who works in this office is basically a child. They're basically a child. They're all dumb. There are maybe three people with actual brains, but everybody's real dumb. There are two characters that I absolutely love, and I don't know the names. I think one of them might be Miranda. She's my favorite. And then there's this other guy, and he's an English character. They're both complete idiots. I want to say that the Miranda, the lady, is going to be the Michael Scott of The Office, because she is such an idiot. But she is so funny. She's so funny, and I'm pretty sure she was the receptionist at the hotel in the White Lotus, or the manager or something in the hotel in the White Lotus season 2. And she's completely different, and I love it. But when When I first watched it, I binged it. There's only 12 episodes. I binged it, and I kind of wish they would have released it every week. I never ever say that, but I wish they would have done it like that, because it would have given me time to accept what I had just saw, because I was so crushed that The Office was sold and went out of business that my brain could not process what was happening in all the other episodes, because I binged it in one day. And I was so crushed by that it made me like hate everything that happened after, and I couldn't appreciate it for what it was. And so when I finished, I gave it some time. I watched something else, and then I was like, I need to go back. I need to go back and watch it. And I went back and watched it, and I'm so glad that I did, because this show really is good. It really is. It's not The Office, and it's not Parks and Rec, but it's good. It's very entertaining, and I really liked it a lot. So I recommend it. I think eventually, given time. Oh, and they signed it for a second season the day before the first season released. They were like, nah, we know this is going to be good. Second season. But now we have to wait until next year. What? So I'm going to have to watch it at least 3 or 4 more times before season 2 comes out. Anyway, okay. So the next thing that I am going to tell you about, I do not have a Rotten Tomatoes score. I do not have an audience score, because it is not on any TV or network. And I know you're like, what are you talking about? It is a show. It is a show. I found it through TikTok. They also have it on YouTube, and I guarantee you it will be, because they're in discussions with networks and stuff like that. I guarantee you it is going to be picked up by someone, and it will be on some Amazon, Netflix, whatever, HBO. It's not a real show. It's not a real show, but it is. So, this is a show called The Chit Show. Chit, C-H-I-T. And I don't even know how I'm going to put it up here. I guess maybe like a little picture. Like, I don't know. But it is a show created by Jay Renshaw. Jay Renshaw is Chit. I believe it's under Jay Renshaw, at Jay Renshaw or something on TikTok, or The Chit Show. And on YouTube it is The Chit Show at Jay Renshaw, or Renshaw J. I don't know. I will put a link in the description to the YouTube channel, because you will have to watch it. They have episode 1 to 37, and you'll binge it all in one go. I've been watching this for months, because they release a new episode on Monday and Thursday. And some of the episodes, like they're little clips, okay, really, but they are like 1 to 3 minutes long. And this show is like The Office. If you have a void in your soul for The Office or Parks and Rec, you're going to love this show, okay? It's so good. They just released the final episode, the season finale. There will be more seasons. It was so good that I was literally screaming. I was in the hospital with Emma, and we were waiting, and I said, oh my god, the final episode of Chit is releasing. I have to watch this. I don't care. I watched it in a hospital cafeteria, okay? And I just started screaming because everything. I'm not going to talk about it, okay? I'm not going to talk about that. So what is this show about? I don't know. It is literally about nothing. It's a show about nothing, okay? It's a group of people that are in this office, and the office is very small. It's just one room. It's basically a utility closet, okay? We have Chit. There's some guy over here. I don't know his name. Kyle, who is the one behind the camera, but you're seeing it through Kyle's point of view. And then there's Linda, and I don't know. What does this business do that they work for? Who knows? You only get to see little sections of things that happen within their office, and you have no idea what the business does, what their jobs are. Chit, I believe, is an accountant. I don't know. I don't know, because this man never works. Never. And his boss always comes in and is like, Chit, I need to see the budget. But he never sees the budget. Chit is always working on the budget, but you never see it. He's always on YouTube, listening to music, playing games. One day he was typing, and it was just pure gibberish on the computer. No actual words. And Kyle asked him, he was like, what are you doing? He was like, crunching the numbers. If you've seen the Chit Show, you know what I'm talking about. Back to it then. Oh my god. It's so funny. It's so funny that, like, I literally cry laughing. That's how funny this show is, okay? And it's Chit. It's the Chit Show because it's all about Chit. Chit makes the show, okay? Please, please go watch the Chit Show. Please. It's amazing. And they have this thing. It's just little clips of things. And one time it's this lady's birthday, and so they write a card, and Kyle asks Chit if he signed the card, and he's like, yeah, and Kyle reads it, and all Chit wrote was, do it, lady. And they're like, Chit, what does this mean? And he was like, you know, do it, lady. No, I don't know. I'm not going to get into it. But it's hilarious. It's hilarious. One time they're looking for a purse. That's it. And it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. But Chit, he's really into The Masked Singer. One time he was in a play, The Lion King. There is a whole situation with a golden pineapple. And then the last week of episodes, or the last 2 weeks of episodes, at the end of each episode, there was a number. And it was like 5, 4, and it was a countdown. And you're like, what is going to happen? What is going to happen? It's the greatest thing I have probably ever seen. And I'm like, when is season 2 going to be happening? Because I just watched the season finale. And I'm like, what does this mean now? What's going to happen now? How long do I have to wait? It's so good that I have watched it so much last night, because I keep saying little things, and I'm like, Emma, you need to know. My daughter, I'm like, you need to know what I'm talking about. Okay? So last night we watched it on YouTube. We watched the whole thing, and she was cracking up the whole time. She thought it was going to be stupid. She's like, I don't want to watch, 37 episodes of a TikTok video, and she sure did. She sure did. She loved every minute of it. She was cracking up. And then the season finale, she was starting to get tired, and she sat up, and she was like, what, mom? And I'm like, I know. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen. So if you watch anything that I recommend today, it must be the Chit Show. It must be. I give it a score of 100%. If I could give something higher than a 100%, it would be the Chit Show. It's amazing. Do it, lady. Please let somebody know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I sound like a crazy person. Okay. The next thing that we're going to talk about. I know I got too excited. We need to chill out, relax. Although this next thing is not relaxing at all. It's very aggravating and angerful. Okay. It is a documentary that I watched on Netflix. And it is called Unknown Number, a high school catfish. Rotten Tomatoes score gave it 80. Audience score gave it 70. I don't even know how I would score this because, yeah, it was good. It was jaw-dropping, like, what in the actual F is happening? So in that category, 100. But based off of what actually happened and the documentary itself, negative 100, 0. If you have anger issues, don't watch this. Do not watch this. I didn't want to watch it because I thought that it was going to be some documentary about high school and like just stupid kids and stuff. No. Nope. I wasn't even going to watch it. And then in the middle of the night, I got a text from the husband and he was like, have you seen this? And I was like, no. And he was like, you need to watch it. And then you need to call me. We need to have a conversation. Okay. So the next day I watched it. It's an hour and like 40 something minutes long. And I did call him and we did talk about it for an hour and a half. What is it about? It's about a teenage girl and her boyfriend who are cyberbullied by an unknown number for months, almost 2 years, maybe a little longer than 2 years. This documentary was so shocking, so piss you off that, like I said, if you have anger issues or you're not in a good mood, stay away from this documentary. Stay away. Like, I actually recommend you don't watch it because it's just that bad. And then once you watch it, you have this information in your brain and you're like, what the fuck? What do I do with this? And I can't do anything about it. And it's just, okay. But it's so jaw-dropping and like what the actual F that as soon as I finished it, before I called the husband, I watched it again. I had to watch it again. Because I was like, this can't be. This can't be. These two kids, and I'm talking children, they were probably 10 to 12 when this, or 13, 10 to 12 to 13 when this went down. They were very young. They looked like little babies. These two kids were friends. They started dating. That's it. You know, this happened in a very, very small town. Everybody knows everybody. It's like the town gossips. There's one school in the whole town. One school, and it covers from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. All the way. There's about, if I did the math because I was like, how is this? There's 700 students or whatever that go. And I was like, I did the math, and it's something like, if each grade level has the exact same number of students, it would be like 58 students per grade. But you know, things aren't even or whatever. I think there was a class at the time that these kids were going to school of 33. Not in the classroom, in the grade level. 33 students. That's how small this town is. So everybody is very close. everybody is involved in everyone's lives, okay? So these two kids start dating. And when they talked about it, they actually lit up. They're much older now. I believe they're in high school. It might be their senior year, actually, like right now. But when they talked about each other, they just lit up. They lit up. You could tell that was real. Like, obviously they were young, but that was real love, and it just, that crushed me. Ugh, just whatever. Anyway, these two people start dating, and then there's this Halloween party, and there's a group text that has been sent to the girl, the boy, from some unknown number. And it's very negative towards the girl. And they're like, you need to break up with him because he's with me and I don't like any of this, And she's like, what? And the guy's like, I don't know who this is or what's going on. And it's just strange. And then nothing happens for like 9 months. And then they both start getting these texts from this unknown number. Terrible, vulgar, vile things about how this little girl and this boy should not be together. They should be breaking up because this random person is actually with him or wants to be with him. And they tell this girl, terrible things like nobody wants her. She's disgusting, anorexic. She should just end everything. And she goes into detail, the random person, about the things that she's doing with this girl's boyfriend and stuff. It gets so bad that they notify the school about it. They notify the police about it because it is like, it's really bad and stalking and like shocking. Like, it's so bad, so bad. And I'm almost like, what are the messages that we didn't get to read? You know what I mean? But it's so bad that they actually had to break up, which was the whole goal of whoever this was, wanted to break them up. So they thought, well, let's break up. Maybe we can revisit this in the future. But this is what they want. So let's give them what they want to make this stop. And you would think that would make it stop, right? But it didn't. And it was terrible, 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 terrible. And the whole time they're trying to figure out who this is. The FBI has to get involved. The FBI. And they do eventually find out who this unknown number was. And it was so shocking and just mind-blowing that you have to just pause it for a minute and just sit there and just be like, no, what? It's so insane. And there are, after I watched it, that I saw TikToks and people are just making TikToks of after they had watched the documentary, they have their significant other or their mothers or their kids watch it and they record their expressions when the bomb is dropped. Because it's that insane and intense. It's enraging. It is enraging. After the bomb is dropped, everything that happens after, you're so shocked by what this was that everything over here pisses you off. Everything. And I was in complete silence because I could not comprehend what just happened. And then when it was over, as I was watching it, I was like, this needs to hurry up because I need to rewatch. I need to go back and rewatch it from the very beginning. And I sure did. So do I recommend it? Yes and no. Yes and no. Because it's awful. But it's a good documentary. It's, I guess, entertaining, but I don't even want to say that. But I can't handle it. I cannot handle that situation. So we're just going to move on. Okay? We're just going to move on. The next thing that I watched is a show on MGM Plus. It's called The Institute. This has been on my list for a while, so I just went ahead and watched it. Rotten Tomato score gave it a 64. A 64. The audience score gave it a 70. I think it deserves a higher score than that. It stars Ben Barnes, maybe? I don't know. I can't read my own writing. Joe Freeman, which he looked so familiar to me. I was like, he looks like someone else. I can't remember who I thought he looked like, but I looked him up during the show, and he doesn't be related to anybody that I thought. But his dad is Martin Freeman. And I'm like, what? That's crazy. So anyway, and it also stars Mary Louise Parker, which I have not seen her in anything in a very long time. Very long time. And I hate her in this. Hate her. Okay, so what is it about? It says that it is about a group of psychic children who unite to take on a shadowy organization that has kidnapped them and claims to be using their powers to save the world. Okay, what the F? I had no idea what I was getting into. It just looked kind of scary, and so I was like, oh, I want to watch something like that, you know? So this kid is like very young, and he is, I think he's like in 8th grade or something, okay? But they're already talking about colleges. Like, he could just probably jump ahead and go to college. That's how smart he is, you know? But he is stressed out during this college conversation with his parents, and they're at a pizza place or something, and he's stressed out, and all of a sudden the pizza thing, that the pizza pan or whatever, starts shaking and falls off the table. What? Yeah, so apparently he has, what is that called? Telekinesis or something, where you can like move things. But it's kind of like a hidden thing because they live in the normal real world, you know? Well, he gets kidnapped out of his home by masked people or whatever, and he wakes up. He's like knocked out or whatever, and he wakes up in his bedroom again, and he's like, what the hell? Like, he was thinking, was this a dream? Because he's in his bedroom. He opens the door, and he's not in his house. This is just an exact I can't talk right now, an exact replica of his room. And he walks out into this hallway that looks like a medical hallway or something, and he's like, what the hell is going on, you know? I really liked the show because it was very mysterious, and you're like, what is happening? Very unpredictable, because I have no idea what's happening in front of my face right now, okay? But anyway, so he goes out to this hallway, and there is just complete emptiness, you know, and there's doors, and he tries to open doors, he can't, they're locked, and then this girl comes into the hallway, and she's wearing almost like sweats or something, like, I don't know, they all seem, I don't know, anyway, and so she's trying to like befriend him, and he's like, what the hell is going on, because he's disoriented, you know, and he has this like metal thing that's been attached to his ear that's basically like a tracker, you know, and he's just like, what is happening? So basically, any child that is here, because it's only children that are here, they have special powers of telekinesis or telepathy, where you can like, shoot, is that the word? Where you can read minds, like you can hear what people's thoughts are. Is that the word? I don't know. I'm the worst. And they just have powers like that, and they don't get to go home. They're basically trapped in this prison, and there's this company of adults who are like, you can do whatever you want. Like, they let them drink alcohol, smoke cigarettes, like eat whatever food they want, but they have to go along with the program. And if they do well, in the front part of this hospital business thing, then they're going to be taken to the back. And back there is where the real work starts, and you're going to be doing things to save the world. But we can't tell you what those things are. And then after, once you do those things, we'll let you go home. We'll let you go home. And they're like, well, how won't we? Aren't you afraid that we're going to tell people and stuff or whatever? And they're like, no, because we're going to erase your memory. We have that technology, so you won't even know. You're going to save the world, and you'll never remember any of it. You'll wake up in your bedroom and have no idea what has happened here, or that you've even gone anywhere. What? How? Okay. But when they're in the front of this building, there's like the front half and then the back half. We don't know what happens in the back half. We eventually know what happens in the back half. That's not good. But the front half, they put you through all these tests and stuff. They hook you up to machines. But these tests are emotionally and physically draining because they hurt you. They hurt. But you have no idea what these tests do, what they mean, what the hell is going on. Okay? And the adults that are on the floor, that are conducting these tests, stuff like that, they're not nice. They're mean. There's one guy that's very, very mean, that it's like he is mentally deranged. He should not be here, you know? But it's just these kids in this, I want to call it a hospital, but it's not a hospital. But they're in this hospital or whatever, and everyone is confused all the time, and everyone is scared, and they're trying to leave. They're trying to figure a way out of here, to escape, because they don't think that good things happen in the back half. And they are right. Terrible things happen back there. So it's like, can they trust these people that are telling them what's going to happen, or what's going to happen after? I don't know. It's very weird, very mysterious, but it's very, very good. And it's like, I don't know if there's going to be a second season, because it just came out. So hopefully they'll sign for a second season so that I can get the continuation to the story, because I need to find out more about this business. You know what I mean? And the kids and what's happening, and it's just like mind blown, you know. But yeah, so that is all the stuff that I watched this month. The two things that I'm gonna recommend three, but number one is the Chit Show. You have to watch the Chit Show, and if you don't like it, there's got to be something wrong with you. It's just so funny. But The Office, and then Upload, and then The Paper. So good. But anyway, I really hope that you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.